actually 6 o'clock according to, I guess the real time, our clock's open at 12. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Discussion. Would you like to mention any of those we've got passed? I think we have just one. Jerry Stockman, who was a longtime resident of the town of Fort Worth, passed away this past week. Yeah, Betsy, one more Betsy here. Betsy passed as well. Thank you. And she was a long-time resident. Public servant for me for many years.
Can you
Give them
speak
one
up?
sounds, please. Pardon? Gotcha. One sound, please. Thank you. First on our agenda, we approve the meeting agenda. We have a motion to approve the meeting agenda. Moved by Gretchen, we have a second. Second. George, second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Approve the minutes for the regular town board meeting on 6/14/2021. So moved by George, we have a second. Seconded by Deb. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Financial report. Here we go. Okay, in the general fund, we have $154,491.81. In the highway fund, we have $9,821.59. In the youth fund, we have $10,454.15. In the Hadlock Dam project, we have $240.09. In the Hadlock Park District Fund, we have $7,498.72. In the Consolidated Health District, we have $370.48. In the Trust and Agency Fund, we have a balance of $1,817.39. In the Medical Reimbursement Fund, we have $4,600.57. Over into our savings account balances with night class and general fund, we have $468,282.51. Night class highway fund, we have $972,505.31. Night class Hadlock Dam Park District, $205,732.16. And the low SAP fund, we have $22,903.76. And that's where we currently are on the financials picture here in the town of Fort Worth. Authorized payment of the bills. Can I have a motion to authorize payment of the bills, please?
So moved.
Moved by George, seconded by Gretchen. Any questions, comments? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. Public comments. Do we have any public comments or agenda items anybody would like to discuss? Okay, if not, we'll move down to the reports from the town officials and committees. Start with the supervisor's report. For those of you that may or may not know, there's a power line that's going to go through from Quebec down to New York City, and it's called the Champlain Hudson Power Express. And we've been negotiating with the other 700 towns in Washington County with the Champlain Hudson Power Express that wants to make a bid on being the ones to provide the power down to New York City. That's going to be closing before too long. We're doing a resolution in support of that process. It's in conjunction with the Washington Warren County IDA, Industrial Development Agency. And over a 30-year period, it will bring in pilot and tax revenue and host package benefits over a 30-year period, $8.7 million in the town of Fort Worth. That's for the town. The village gets about another $252,000, somewhere in that area. Don't hold me on those numbers, I'm not familiar with the numbers they're getting for sure. And then the school gets about $7 million over that 30-year period of time, which would be a significant amount of income for the town and school for Fort Worth. But that's not guaranteed. this is a bidding process with the state. So they have made their proposal to the 7 towns. I understand there's two other organizations, corporations that are interested in making bids on it. One of them being the New York State Power Authority. So we'll have to see how it all goes out. But I think their negotiating team did a real good job for us on the negotiating of the pilot and the host package for the town. So hopefully that'll go over in time. The other thing is that we got notification from the ARP, the American Relief Plan, that over the course of the next 2 years, dollars and cents wise, we'll be getting approximately $564,974. And there's a list we're still going through the things that can be utilized for and what can't be utilized for, and we've come with a plan on how we're going to utilize those funds. There's some timetables that are lying. The funds must be obligated by December 31st, 2024, and all bills must be paid by December 31st, 2026. Half of that money will come the summer of 2021, and then the balance of the money will come the summer of 2022. So there's some good things that hopefully are on the horizon for the town of Fort Anne from a financial perspective. And that concludes my report. And we'll start with Deb. Deb, do you have anything?
No, I'm good tonight, thank you.
Okay. George?
As I reported at the Padlock Association meeting, we backed off on harvesting right now because the wheat growth wasn't that high. We did have a lot of crop chop over the 4th of July weekend, so you'll probably see Dave out looking the lake over, and we'll be putting the harvester out as soon as we feel the wheat growth's high enough. We're just not getting anything running up and down, it's still too low. And that's all I have.
Gretchen?
The beaches had a slow start this year, and because the weather hasn't really agreed with us, and we've had illness with the lifeguards, so we're hoping to get back to normal tomorrow and have it open every day, all day. And the swim lessons for the recreation department will start tomorrow as well. Joe Degner and Terry Barber are being honored at a luncheon at the Amaranth Grill on Wednesday as State Seniors of the Year, which I think is a very great honor. And I don't have much on the bike trail, except that it's being used a great deal and people like it very much. It's very positive. It's a positive thing coming.
Very good. Paul is not here, he didn't seem to come in for highway superintendent report, so we'll move on to enforcement officer. Mark?
So you got my report. Anybody got any questions?
What was the demo, the camp removal, where was that, Mark?
What's that?
The camp removal? This is one demo camp removal?
That's on headlock.
That's a demo.
There's other ones.
Okay. Okay, very good. Anything else you want to report out?
Nope.
So we had 8 building permits altogether, 2 single family, a cabin, a storage building, a deck removal, deck replace, addition, and a shed. Yep. Very good. Okay, sir, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, then the historic report, historic did not be with us today, but her comments were in the Chicago report, the metal detector was found at the base of the Battle Hill. A rain actor came across it on the 8th of July. We didn't go further up the hill as it's still private property. We'd like permission to have George Sherwood to look around for evidence or more metal detecting further around the hill. Does any board member have an issue with that? Okay, go ahead. Number 2, cemetery and Starbucks keeps popping up. I think the cemetery committee should look into this to make sure it is in Hartford and not Fort Anne. The trail posted line, the cemetery book has it in Hartford, but many say it's on Fort Anne taxable land. Veterans supposedly in that cemetery also. George White Dale of the Historical Society, and I can at least go look at it and use tax maps to see where it actually is. And I told them go ahead and research that if they'd like to. And if you could announce Dave Sherwood is having a book signing at Grumbelly's on July 24th at 3 p.m. He's got some books, they're $8 a piece. The money from the sales of the books is going to be donated to the 40th American Legion. It's a fundraiser for the American Legion. I haven't seen the book yet either, so I can't tell you what it's about. It's a secret until whatever day it is, the 24th. So, and we have no report from the dog control officer. Negative report there. Under new business.
You want mine or no?
Oh, I'm sorry, let's skip the report.
That's okay,
I
you forget me
apologize.
every month, that's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
I collected $761.13 for the town and gave the town a check July 1st for the period of June 1st to June 30th. That's it.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, new business, we have Spectrum for a new carrier. We've had some difficulty with the lines, especially in the judges' chambers. The court chambers not being able to pick up and then having to wait, have them service so they can get back in operation. And it's difficult, people trying to get in and out of court, so we had Spectrum come up and give us a new bid, and it's about $52 a lot cheaper than what we're getting for the service that we had. So if the board has no concerns with that, we'll go ahead and make the change. Okay. Thank you. Old business, so we didn't lose them. We put on the short-term rentals and the town set new route plans. Nothing's been done on those, so there's nothing to report out on those tonight. The resolution, number 53, pilot post community approval resolution. All right, let's tackle that, please.
Sure. Do you want the whole thing or just the back?
Just the back, the top of it, the result portion of it.
Okay.
You can hear all that reading.
Exactly. Okay, resolution number 53 of 2021, resolution approving A, the payment terms and conditions of a certain pilot agreement to be entered into between counties of Warren and Washington IDA and CHPE LLC in connection with the CHPE LLC project, and B, the payment terms and conditions of certain host community benefit agreements to be entered into between counties of Warren and Washington Civic Development Corporation and CHPE LLC in connection with the CHPE LLC project. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of satisfying the requirements contained in the agency's uniform tax exemption policy and the act, the town board hereby acknowledges notification of any deviation from the agency's UTEP policy. Number 2, waives any formal notice from the agency of any deviation from the agency's UTEP policy. Number 3, approves the payment terms to be contained in the pilot program as substantially described in Schedule A attached. And 4, approves the payment terms to be contained in the host community benefit agreements as substantially described in Schedule A attached. Section 2, the town supervisor of the town is hereby authorized and on behalf of the town of Fort Anne to execute and deliver a consent to the pilot agreement for the purpose of evidencing its approval to the proposed payment terms of the pilot program. Said pilot agreement to contain the terms described in Schedule A attached, with such changes, variations, omissions, and insertions as the town supervisor of the town shall approve the execution thereof by the town supervisor of the town to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval. Section 3, the town supervisor of the town is hereby further authorized on behalf of the town of Fort Anne to execute and deliver a consent to the host community benefit agreement relating to the town for the purpose of evidencing its approval to the proposed payment terms of the host community benefit agreement. Said host community benefit agreement to contain the terms described in Schedule A attached, with such changes, variations, omissions, and insertions as the town supervisor of the town shall approve the execution thereof by the town supervisor of the town to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval. Section 4, the officers, employees, and agents of the town of Fort Anne are hereby authorized and directed for and in the name and on behalf of the town of Fort Anne to do all acts and things required or provided for by the applicable provisions of this resolution in order to ensure compliance with such provisions as they relate to the execution and delivery of the pilot agreement and the host community benefit agreement, and to execute and deliver all such additional certificates, instruments, and documents, and to do all such further acts and things as may be necessary or in the opinion of the officer, employee, or agent acting desirable and proper to effect the purposes of the foregoing resolution. Section 5, this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Okay, do I have a motion to move this?
So moved.
Moved by George, second by Gretchen. Under discussion, yeah, is there anything you'd like to offer on this? I know you reviewed it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's a requirement to enter into a pilot agreement. For it to go forward, all the municipalities must approve. And that includes school districts. Essentially, everybody on this list has to agree to it in order for it to move forward. And it will be a roll call vote.
Okay, good. Is there any further discussion? Then, Barbara, do a roll call, please.
I sure can. Smith,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Witherell,
Yes.
and Sexton absent.
He's excused. He's excused. Okay, very good, thank you. All right, now, under public discussion to start with, I think the West Wayne Fire Department's here. Would you like to make a presentation or have some?
We want a new truck.
Yes. Lloyd Ladd, Assistant Fire Chief, West Florida volunteer. On behalf of the fire department, we are requesting the purchase of a new fire apparatus to replace a 1999 HME that we have now for our fire truck.
Okay, so you'll get us the exact figures of dollars we're talking about, that type of stuff?
I have them all right now, sir.
Okay. And we will be taking a look at this for the 2022 budget.
Yes, this will be 2022 budget.
Okay. So if anything changes, then you get back to us on it, up, down, whatever the case may be.
Right now, we've already gone through a company called Tax Exempt Leasing Corp. And we have been approved, all taken care of in that aspect. Purchase price of the truck. We're luckily at this point in time where we started this process a bit ago. There have been 2 price increases and we're still held back on the prior increases. So the price of the truck is $657,370. Interest rate is 3.05%. And the payment will be $56,105.67. This will impact our budget by a total of $17,000.
Okay. You have so much you can provide with us, you make copies of it to leave with us?
And you can make copies of those.
Okay.
The aspect that we're dealing with is ETA 462, which is the 1999. We bought that when, unfortunately, our old top pick got rolled. 22 years old, parts have become very hard to find for repairs. I just waited 10 months for 2 switches, and I'm not sure what the cost are going to be. Last year we spent almost $26,000 just on repair costs of the apparatus. It is continually starting to add up and add up and add up. We have an oil leak now on the motor. We feel that it's more effective to replace a 22-year-old truck. The new truck will be basically identical to ETA 463, 2,000 gallon minute pump, 2,500 gallons of water. So we're going to be increasing our pump size 750 gallons per minute. And we're going to be doubling our water from 1,250 to 2,500. So when we arrive on scene, we're going to be able to carry with 12 trucks 5,000 gallons of water. That is quite the initial attack.
So you said it's the same size, so it won't be a place that it won't be a problem with housing it?
No, it'll go right where we build our fire trucks to fit our space confinement of our station. We initially started out building a ladder, 2,000 gallon minute pump, 77-foot ladder. Unfortunately, the price was nice, but the picture they brought us was a plain Jacob cutter. And by the time we finalized the price of the truck, it went from about that price to almost $1 million. And we're like, no way. Right now, the 2 price holdbacks that we have, we're on 2019's prices on this truck. We're at that price. The truck to build it today is $815,000. So we're trying to be diligent. We do know that there's another 2 or 3 price increases in the time frame of purchasing the truck. We are trying to be responsible. Just the fact that we're going $20,000, $25,000 on a truck You know, what's it gonna be next year, what's gonna be the following year, what's gonna be the following year, so that is our request.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions? Okay.
We unfortunately are on a time constraint, so we are requesting a public hearing so that we can present it and then get it back to our citizens.
Okay, well, it'll be 22, so we won't, that's kind of, until we do the 22 budget, we can do a public hearing.
Let's see.
We can't commit to something. find out-
Right, we're in 2021 right now.
Yes,
Okay, so from our public hearing, we have to really know about our permission on this truck really by August 1st, because the salesman's getting constraints because we started this truck a bit ago, did 2 price increases. So if it's gonna be a year, the payment will be billed a year from the public hearing approval if we get approved. So it'll be 2022, probably July, August 22 budget, so it'll be a next year budget. We tried to delay it a 2-year, but the bank said no.
yeah, but my point is, until we know what the total budget's gonna look like, we can't approve something before that. Because it may be only partial of what you're asking for, it may not be able to get the whole amount. So it's kind of hard to commit when we don't even know we're working on the budget, which doesn't normally start until the September timeframe, August, September timeframe.
Budget is due, September, and then you slow down in November, our chance on the truck's gonna be gone by then.
Yeah, we'll discuss that, but I'm just telling you, that's, where we are at this point in time. Okay, we'll take a look at it and see if there's something we can do, but until we know, I guess some other figures come in and we can pull the stuff off, straighten out for revenue loss this year and that type of stuff.
Can we still hold a public hearing on it, or?
No, because the public hearing, we say, go ahead and do it, and we're asking people to vote on something, have the accurate numbers on it. Okay, that doesn't make sense. That's the only way we can get something like that, have the numbers.
Well, we know that from where we're at right now with our budget standing, the difference is going to be a $17,000 increase. That,
Right.
you know,
I understand that, but that may not be able to authorize, so I don't want to put something out there for people to vote on it that we may not be able to authorize. Okay, that's where we're at. We've got you on the list here, and we'll talk about it, we'll keep moving, that's not that issue, okay?
Yeah.
Public discussion. Any public discussion? Anybody got anything you want to say to me? Yes, sir.
Are you entertaining public discussion at the short-term rental?
Sure.
I see in the proposed law here that you're doing some occupancy reduction or occupancy limitations. Has anybody approached this from like a septic standpoint? What kind of gallons per day septic usage these places are going to have, given the occupancy levels that you're going to allow?
That's one of the things will be discussed at coding time, and that's one of the issues that we're dealing with now. Is to see exactly how that's going to play out.
Okay.
I will answer for the record.
My name is Matt French. I live 1347 Copeland County.
Thank you, Rick. Any other questions, comments?
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
hi. My name is Jen Tyler, we live up on Dewey's Bridge.
Yes.
I kind of have mixed feelings on this proposal. I agree that because of the additional road traffic, in certain areas, there should be some kind of tax. I know that Warren County has implemented a 3% bed tax, and I feel like that's a logical thing to do. I think that there's a bit of an overreach on the town's part in terms of what they're trying to control and, in people's hands. I know the town has always been very fair before when we come to you guys with our subdivisions, and we appreciate that. But one matter that's kind of flustered us as town residents is one of the oppositions to the short-term rentals is having commercial business in a residential area. But we found that if someone on your planning board is also proposing a commercial business in our residential area, and we find that extremely frustrating. They're neighbors of ours and we've always gotten along great with them, but just the contradictory of someone on the planning board opposing short-term rentals, partially because they're commercial, but yet they're proposed to open with a local grant, a commercial kitchen and, a commercial kitchen and manufacturing facility down the road from our house when their traffic has been an issue for us, but being neighbor, we, you know, Jeff just said something that we haven't complained to the town before. But the fact that they're complaining about other people when they themselves are causing issues is extremely concerning to us. And I, you know, I hope you'll take them into consideration as you take other people into consideration the same way.
Thank you.
I'm assuming it's email.
Okay. I think you're probably Lavender Fire.
Yes,
It's been up there for a while.
only about 5 years.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, it's, sorry, I don't know what we're talking
No,
about.
that's fine.
Yeah, it's, the Post-Star just did a great article on it, if you want it, I can share it with you, I'm more than happy to, but I think you can understand where we're coming from, having a family on the road.
Understand. Understand. Okay. Anyone else? Ms. Cameron?
I would just like to understand where this law, I guess, started to come from and why, if I was such a nuisance to the town, why wasn't it brought to my attention, emails, calls, complaints? Why wasn't something sent to me until this came out?
Well, because it's number one, it's not about just your place, okay? We've got a place up on Clay Hill Road, it's an issue. We've got a couple places over Pelham Ave, they're an issue. We've got other ones that are springing up, and it had come numerous times.
Did it come what?
It had come up numerous times in discussions,
Well-
okay? But not while I was supervisor. All right, so if, and the way I operate is if I have a problem, or we have a problem with the town, then I will try to address that problem.
That's what, I don't feel like you came to me to address it. I don't feel like you had said to me, hey Caitlin, are your septic's up to par? Hey Caitlin, is this? Hey Caitlin, what's in your rental agreement? What do you require from your renters?
Okay.
What
Yeah,
is
sorry,
all-
you cut you off.
Do you know what I'm saying? So
I know what you're saying.
almost a lot of the stuff in here, I'm not opposed to because I already do that. But it was, especially on that videotape, you were saying Northern Living, that's all you said was Northern Living Facilities. You did not mention anybody else. And not once you were saying complaints, and nothing was ever brought to my attention.
Now,
Still, to this day, after emails and phone calls to the town, the only one that's responded to me is Barb. You have never responded to us.
I don't remember the phone call.
Uh,
The only phone call I ever got from you was a conversation we had when I first became chairman of the board and became a COVID thing. You called, and I won't go over the conversation here, but that's the only conversation I ever had with you, the first long time. And you were complaining about the video that I put out, asking people if they were going to come to Fort Ann or coming to Washington County about, it may not be a good time to travel here because we have amenities, we have health services, and several other things.
I didn't understand or hear anything you
You
said.
said you had conversations with back in COVID. I don't remember you ever calling.
I don't, during COVID, I called you.
Yep, you called me at the county building, talked to the chairman of the board of Washington County Board of Supervisors. And you identified yourself.
I honestly don't recall whether, I'm sure I called Washington County to make sure we weren't violating anything, but I don't
This
recall.
wasn't a final thing, this was asking, it was the first video that I did as a county chair to send out, so we didn't have a full conversation.
Okay,
Okay, so,
so you didn't get my emails that I emailed Barb that was forwarded to you, to all of you. I didn't receive a response from anybody.
No.
You never received them. So my point being is,
and I got one here tonight, just to leave us with.
so my point being, in this videotape of things that you've said, it is said very clear that there was complaints coming in for me that I was doing things Wild West, just us, one property, whatever it is. I would like to know what those things are. Because if there are complaints coming in, I cannot fix them unless you address them to me, unless you tell me.
Well, I know that some of the individuals have addressed those with you, or at least they said they addressed them with you, and they addressed some of those issues at the meeting the other night, which kind of, and I know you were upset, you were worked up, you kind of let it go over your head, like it didn't exist and it didn't happen.
What didn't wait, what didn't exist or what didn't happen?
The problems that they were bringing forward, the complaints that they had, and several of them listed off, they're in the minutes.
I'm very well aware of those, and so every single time any neighbor has ever contacted me, we have responded within minutes. And if there's a neighbor that would like to stand up and say we haven't, at any point, they can. But there, when at the last meeting, I said, please say, if you sent me a complaint and we did not respond in the proper manner, not one person, after all those complaints, not one person said that we didn't respond to them. So what are the complaints coming in that you're hearing?
They voiced them there the other night.
I really can't, I'm sorry. I can't hear you.
They voiced them there the other night. It's very clear what the
voice invoiced in there the other night.
So noise,
No.
Noise, overcrowding, parking,
okay, so what,
animals running on your property, I mean, listen on and on.
I don't remember
No.
any about animals.
no. So I wanna make sure that I get the clear list from you, so I'm an understanding of what people are complaining about.
I believe they're in the minutes, Barb. Those are in the minutes, correct? The ones that we
Yes.
just did? So if you read the minutes from the last meeting, they should be in there.
Okay, so when a complaint comes in, then am I entitled to be notified of those complaints? How am I supposed to change something if I'm not aware it's happening?
That's part of the process, okay? Within that bill, within that law, we will have someone that specifically handles those issues. So when they come in, someone will get to you and say, hey, these are the problems, how are you going to address
Okay, so a complaint comes in to the town at 10 p.m. on a Friday evening.
Yep.
Okay, my neighbor then has to deal with that until Monday morning when you open and the code enforcer comes to me and calls me. Right now, I'm taking care of it within 5 minutes of them texting or calling.
it? Once again,
So if I'm gonna go by protocol, that's only hurting my neighbors and not helping. Does that make sense?
it makes sense if that's what is happening. And I'm telling you that what the neighbors had said the other night was they did not get immediate responses.
Who,
You were there, you
there has,
you
no,
tuned it out.
no. There was, I had 2 neighbors that were at that meeting. 2 neighbors that were there.
No, there were more problems there than that.
There was 2 neighbors that lived next to our rentals that were at that meeting.
One rental, you got more than one rental.
I'm not gonna argue tonight, Sam, honestly.
No, I'm
It's-
not
it's
either, but I'm just
okay.
saying, you're saying there's 2 people there.
Protestants, for example, they had said, we don't get adequate responses. After they sat down, I sat up and I said, can you say that I haven't responded in proper time? She stood back up and said, I apologize, it is not Northern Women's Facility, it is the other side. Do you remember her recall her saying that?
I remember standing up, yes.
Okay, so she's one of my neighbors. None of my other neighbors from anywhere was at that meeting. So how is this, do you know what I'm saying? You're going off of, you're taking all this crap that people are saying and making it real when it's not real. How do you know what a legit complaint is that's coming in? So right now, there's no rules and regulations, right?
Correct.
So I have put them in our rental agreement to care for my neighbors and the whole community. I'm the one responding within 5 minutes. If there's one person that says I'm not, it's not okay. So when a complaint comes into you and says, this is my complaint, I'm not getting a response, how is that taken care of?
It's not, because I'm not the enforcement, we have no law to enforce it now. That's the point.
But my point is I created our own laws. So as of now, I can give people the keys and just throw my hands up, right? By the law, that's what I can do right now. I've never done that.
I can only go with what the residential people tell us.
But you can also go, well, I tell you, you've never had a conversation with me. You've never emailed, you've never called, you never said anything to me. The first time I spoke to you was at the last board meeting.
No, the first time you spoke to me was
Oh,
back in.
I apologize. If that's when I was, and the second time I spoke to you was at the last board meeting.
Well, you didn't talk to the last board meeting, you screamed at the last board meeting, that's okay.
Oh my God.
So, no,
Sam,
my point
seriously,
being
no.
my point being
No,
is,
you're not gonna do that. You're
Listen.
not gonna do that.
listen, kid, the problem is you don't want to accept responsibility for the actions that you're saying have existed. All these people can be saying the wrong thing and they feel intimidated by you, okay?
They don't want change
Sir.
beforehand, that's the problem.
I think the point is, when there's a complaint, it's already, the peace and solitude of our pond has already been destroyed. You already lost that night if you gotta make a complaint.
So what about, I have a camp on Summer Way, where me and my family,
3 years ago, it's there.
me and my family stay on Summer's Way. There's noise to the right of us, there's noise to the left of us, there's noise on the lake. Who am I to call as a homeowner to file a complaint? If it's owner occupied, who am I to call?
Once the law's put in place, you should be able to call the
No,
sheriff department.
because you're only directing it to short-term rentals.
That's a draft, Caitlin, it's not done.
Well,
Your
I'm
draft says
going
draft.
based on the draft. Per your
And
draft,
And we will take, that's why I just said we're not done working with it tonight. That's why we didn't have anything to report on it.
but
We're
you're
still working in the draft
You're
stage.
just
It's a draft
assuming
stage.
that the whole community should know that you're gonna add that to it,
And
right?
when we do
So
the
we're-
public hearing, the information will be there. We'll have it, that'll be the final document, it's time to do the public hearing.
So you're saying that you're changing it to add to the whole town, so the whole town's gonna have 10 PM curfew, the whole town's gonna have parking regulations, how many people they can see in their
No.
dwelling?
They're not businesses. There's a difference. It is a business, okay? Yeah, I know you've got your posters that say, our home's to hand over it, but it's not your home, it's your business. You don't live in it. There's a big difference.
Okay, I'm not gonna argue with you about whether it's a home or whatever you
And
want.
I'm not gonna argue with you
That's
either.
not why
I'm
it's
just telling you
here.
that's how it's classified as a business. Because it is a business.
Okay.
Okay? So, you know, we are going to continue on, work on the draft. You know, you'll have an opportunity for more input on it, as will anybody else in the town that has information they want to put into it. And then we'll have a public hearing, and everything will come out then, and we can go ahead and discuss it and carry on.
Okay, so if from now until this is resolved, when complaints come in, how is that, what's the protocol for that coming into the town being addressed to me, right? Because we have a long way to go for this to be
Yep.
enforced.
Yep.
Okay, so where do we go from here
Our
until?
recommendation is going to be that they contact the sheriff's department.
Okay, so then,
It's
so then from now on, I'll abide by, just like my neighbors abide by. And when someone has a complaint, they can contact the sheriff's office.
No, I can tell, listen,
You know?
I'm not going to tell you how to run your business. That's not what
You're
this
just
is about.
telling me.
No, it isn't.
That's my thing.
No, it isn't. I'm not telling you how to run your business.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what you need to do to protect the neighbors. That's all.
And what I'm saying to you, right, we're beating a dead horse here. What I'm saying to you is I implemented rules and regulations to protect my neighbors this whole time. If I was running the Wild West, there would be no rules and regulations. I'd hand them the keys and walk away 5 years ago and just all care about the money. That's not what we're there for. We've instilled these rules and regulations. But what you're telling me is no, have them call the cops. My rental agreement, which you never asked to see, is almost stricter than what you have on these proposed laws.
Then you shouldn't be so upset with this.
I'm upset. I'm upset with the way that you conducted yourself as supervisor. That's what I'm upset about.
Well,
Totally.
Well, that's your prerogative.
It is my prerogative, and it was absolutely uncalled for.
I don't understand anything the other night, maybe one thing, so I don't know what I said.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay, Sam.
I think I listened most of the night.
I'm sorry?
I think I listened most of the night. I didn't say
And
one
interrupted, you called names.
Once.
Yeah.
I didn't call anybody names. I think you need to watch the tape again, 'cause I didn't call anybody names.
Would you be willing as
Yes, ma'am.
the town, sorry to interrupt, as the town supervisor to have a couple of community members maybe help in the draft?
Sure.
When
we get to that point.
get a small committee together
Yeah, when we
and
get to that point.
work for both sides.
You know, we got another, this, and to show you the severity of this, okay, the things that can happen, right? Is we had the other one I was referring to that we had them firing and discharging weapons 3 times during the night up there at this other Airbnb, okay? And it wasn't on Haddock, okay, it was another place in town. And when the state police came, they said because there is no town law, no ordinance, we really can't do anything. They're from Florida, they're gonna be gone in the morning, so we'll just let them go and let it go, okay?
What was that again? You said discharging firearms, what time of the night?
7:30 a.m., 10 p.m., and 11 p.m.
That's pretty odd hours.
It certainly was.
Must have been a big record.
No, it was not,
No,
no, that's what I just said, it was not, I'm sorry, you can't hear through this
Sorry,
glass.
I couldn't do
It
that.
was not on Hemlock, it was one of the other short-term rentals that we have in town. So that's why I say this is not just aimed at Hemlock. Even though it may have sounded in the video and that was on Urban Living, because that's where I just got the most complaints that day. That's where we're going, so. And Caitlin, your points are well taken, okay? And I understand where you're coming from. And
There's just no, I think it needs to be brought down to a more respectful level for you and I to be able to communicate.
Well, I think so too. That's a two-way street.
I think
Okay.
I presented very, very well tonight. I didn't cut you
No,
off.
you
I
didn't-
did
you
nothing, and I don't feel that it was the same way. It doesn't matter. But the thing is I'm here tonight to say, if there's a complaint, I want to know about it. I want to be able to change it. Without you telling me, I can't change it. Right? We're only upsetting neighbors if I can't change something. So if a neighbor calls you instead of me, nothing's being done.
Well, and quite frankly, some of those neighbors are, and this is what they're telling me, you need to do something because they're scared of retaliation.
What am I gonna do?
John, I don't know.
Scared of retaliation.
Yep.
Scared of
I
retaliation.
have no idea. I don't get into that.
The only.
My comment to that has been, if you feel about retaliation, then you can contact the police.
That's going
Yeah, it's
away.
definitely Dwayne and Mindy, which is why they're not here, right? Because they're afraid that.
It actually wasn't going in, so.
Okay, so who was it?
I'm not gonna get much of an answer. If they wanted to, they just sit and ready to put it in.
Every other neighbor was at the public hearing. Penny and Bill are here tonight. I don't have another neighbor.
There's other neighbors up there that do that. And it's not just that one side. It's the other side. You're looking at just one side, Caitlin.
Oh, we're talking about Jeff Pepper.
No, I not actually.
Oh, that's my only other neighbor.
No, there's other places up there that you have places. There's other
No, I know
neighbors.
where my places are, I know my
I know
neighbors.
you do too. But it doesn't affect the one that immediately lives near you.
Again, if they call you with complaints, please advise me right away so I can rectify it. That's my only point of this conversation. If I don't know, I can't change it.
Okay. So, and I don't know this, I'm not sure to be wiser, but do you have in your contract if there's an issue to call you?
Absolutely.
Multiple. Yeah, multiple.
Why don't you ask her for a copy of her?
And if they are out of control, like, we can throw them out at any time.
Okay.
If
The issue is it's in their contract, but it's not, the neighbors don't know that.
The neighbors don't know what our billboard, our website,
I'm
we have
just
signs.
saying they don't feel comfortable calling Caitlin for whatever reason.
Okay, well then,
So they call me.
that's their problem, right? It's gonna be their problem because what happens is,
If they're assuming
Sam,
that's their fault.
then they're gonna call you. You don't tell me. It's not taken care of.
No, and I don't get the calls in the middle of the night.
You can call me anytime.
Stewart's in the morning, or Toby's up there in the
So-
corner, or whoever the case may be, so it's not,
They can shoot me a
Oh, they
text,
don't get-
Caitlin, we're getting noise, and
He doesn't get a phone.
I don't get a call, I don't get a call till the
You
next
see the
day,
public.
and they happen to see the public, and they tell me.
Last time they said they called you after hours.
That was one of the times too. Yep, left a message.
I'm just saying, if they call you, it's not getting rectified, nothing, so why even complain about it, because nothing's gonna be done about it.
Well,
Well,
So if they call you, then someone should be
I'm not the
answering.
one complaining about it, I can't be responsible for the way they act, and what they say.
Wouldn't it be respectful for you to call her then and give her the message right away if we do get a phone call? Or if something does come in because she can't rectify anything?
Your point's well taken, but I don't wanna be working as an answering service, okay, quite frankly. Because when I get to
Well,
report,
then tell them not to call
when
you,
I get,
to call her directly.
this is what happens, okay? They call me, I don't interpret the same way as I put it to Caitlin. Caitlin addresses the problem the way she heard it, but that doesn't mean that's what the problem was, because that's the way I interpret it.
That's why there should be an official complaint in writing to the town and to me. That way it is not misread, it is not misspoken, it is translated exactly how that neighbor wants it to be translated. That should be the proper protocol.
If there was somebody here to handle it, and the weekends and late at night,
Either way,
Alright.
I just feel like I'm getting the end of the stick because all these people supposedly are complaining. And I mean, I get complaints, definitely we get complaints, and we take care of them within minutes. But all these mysterious complaints from mysterious neighbors are floating out there in the cloud, and we're not getting them. But then I'm getting bashed for these mysterious complaints coming in.
what you can do if you would is take the objections that you have to the draft plan, put into it what you like to see, what you think would make sense, including the way the contact should be. Okay? And then we'll take a look again, we'll do the whole thing. Yes, ma'am.
What's the plan from now until then?
It's to-
So there's a chance that complaints can still come in, so what's the protocol for that?
That's not our job to do that portion, because you don't have a lot to work on.
Alright, so can I give you my number and you can just say, call John? That's something, if you get a call or if you do get a call.
Yes.
I mean,
Sometimes,
I don't-
sometimes
like I
you have
said,
to the day afterwards.
That's fine, even if you get the call, I'd like to go to the person and
But
say,
that's our point, even if this goes through and they call the town, like you said, you're not gonna be answering phone calls in the middle of the night.
I do, but not
I'm
to
fine.
the chiefs of it.
I'm not trying to be argumentative, but
I know
if
you
someone
are.
wants fast action, they're trying to go to bed at 11:30 at night, our guests are being rowdy. If they want to go to bed, the only thing that's going to solve those issues is to text us or call us. That is it. Calling the board, putting in a formal written complaint, it's not going to change anything that night. All it's going to do is allow them to complain about it the next day, the week after, and say, "Oh, she blah blah blah." No, we want to take care of it, but we can't if we don't know about it.
I understand.
It's very frustrating.
I understand. I understand why I would be frustrated. Yes, Cliff.
Cliff Nelson, 410 Padlock Pond Road. I stand in full and complete support of the short-term rental laws. After the association meeting, I spoke with many of my neighbors, and there's lots of people that don't have the signs in front of their house that are for this law and are supporting the town in this motion. Down the road, perhaps it does make sense to offer an exception to the rule for a person that owns their own home that wants to occasionally rent it out. But that's a whole different ball.
Let me guess, you want to
No,
occasionally rent?
Oh my God.
Come on.
So better be sure they cut those trees down.
Yeah. And then your dogs run miles
And
apart.
stop your dogs from barking every
Yeah.
time you go by your house and
Those pine trees are nice on the edge road, they just fell in the lake on the snow.
Let's let
I'm
Mr.
sure
Nice
they
have
said
that.
that, my park would like the picture, I took a nice orange excavator working on the dirt. That was nice.
So again, we know why people don't reach out to them. Perfect example was just demonstrated.
They didn't just say.
It's just you.
No.
Just
So,
Isolated to you.
so there's a lot of people that are in support of this, that don't want to come here, don't want to be abused. I can take it. No problem. But there's people that don't want to deal with this, that are absolutely for these laws, and I want the 5 members of the town board to know that there's a lot of people that are looking forward to this.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Kathy Matier. I own 3164 Sunset View Way, and I lived there last week, but I don't live there this week because I'm renting it right now. And my properties are by Caitlin and John's. I've never had a problem. I call them with this. It's usually profanity down on the docks at midnight or something if I have to, but I usually hear about it afterwards and then I just let them know. But I just want you to, if you create these laws, like sound laws or whatever, they should be for everybody, not just the tenants. And that's all that I ask, is that there be consistency. So you know whether I'm in the house or clients are in the house, we're all being treated the same. And that's what I ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, is there anything else? Any other comments?
On a small note,
Yeah, John.
I was up on Pilot Knob at the end today, took my daughter to the YMCA camp. I know this is probably very minute, the parking lines on the parking lot up there are all coming off, those red strips, I don't know who put them on, I know it doesn't really matter, but just something, if you've ever put those strips up there in the parking lot.
Is that the beach you're talking?
Yeah, there's those red tape lines, they were just all coming off, I mean, I'm not sure if that's important, might not be, but some people like the guidance of having a spot for not being,
Okay.
just a little thing, I know it's no big deal,
Yep, thank you, appreciate that. We'll get somebody to take a look at it. Anything else? Kayla?
I guess I have more views to give tonight,
That's
but,
okay.
with the occupancy rate, the home, parking, etc. I agree with you that parking should only be done within the driveway to the home and not on other people's properties or anything along those lines. As well as the occupancy rate. Now, if you have a driveway that can fit 2 cars and I have a driveway that can fit 10 cars, why aren't I allowed to have people that can fit 10 cars? Right, so it should be based on the square footage of your driveway.
Yeah, so it could also be based on the capacity of the septic system.
Correct.
It's called-
And that's my next point. And so if we have a home that can accommodate 9 bedrooms and we have 6 bedrooms, why doesn't that allow to have that many? Everyone's up in arms about how many people were sleeping. If the home allows for it and the septic allows for it, what's being heard from that?
Well, I don't think, and I have to check, I know that John came up, John Graham, talking to me from the code department. And, I don't think, we go by what it's built for the bedroom wise, not what it would sleep totally.
Right.
So the bedroom wise, unless you built one in a bigger capacity that would sleep 6 people, then you're exceeding that by the people that you're thinking. It's like during the daytime, I know, and nothing's in concrete along that line, because you could have no one staying there at night, but you could have 50 people coming during the daytime and using those facilities while they're there. Okay, and that far exceeds what the capacity would be if they were sleeping over. Because they've been there all day utilizing it.
Our max occupancies are max occupancy, day, night, weekends, whatever it is. So worst case scenario, you go by the max occupancy. Based on the max occupancy, our septic should hold our max occupancy. We don't necessarily think of it as bedrooms if we thought ahead of the game and upgraded our septics to accommodate more than what we actually have. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So I think that before a conversation or statements are made about our occupancy or our septic, you've looked into them, people have looked into them, then you know that our septics are up to par for the number of people that we're sleeping, as well as our bedrooms, because we're not.
But it's not,
Okay.
I'm not cutting you off, but it's not just the people you sleep in there, it's the other people that come insular to that park. Because they still have to use the facility somewhere.
We don't allow visitors, so it's guests and just guests, there's no visitors coming. Once in a blue moon, we'll have a family baby shower or something like that at one of our properties, but our guests don't have guests.
That's not true. Your numbers, Caitlin, are there. I know that, no, they do have guests. It's not always, but they
So you're
do.
saying our guests have guests?
Sometimes.
I've never noticed that on camera, no one's ever made me aware of it.
Well,
That's good to know, that's good to
No,
know.
it's good to know, and it should be called on, because if our guests have guests and they're violating the rental agreement and they would be kicked out, they would be evicted. It would be another phone call, just like a noise phone call or something.
Bill's trying to stop me.
No, that's okay, no, it's okay.
Penny Gould, we have 3146. We are 100 feet of property amongst 3 of the Northern Living that have less than 100 feet each. So I need to say that for the fact that we're all close.
Right.
It's not like a couple of your other properties that are farther apart. We're right in the middle of a lot of properties like that. Sometimes what you're asking us to do is count people.
No, we're not,
Well, then how do I tell you?
We're saying if you have a complaint, to let me know, which you do and we take care of it. That's the only, just like if you had a regular neighbor, right? If somebody from Jersey bought it and lived there and they brought out their family every weekend to party, you can call them and complain and they're not gonna do anything. You can call the town, complain, they're not gonna do anything. You call me and John and I take care of it within 5 minutes. Is that not a true statement?
Well, I don't wanna argue it here.
No, I'm not
Okay,
arguing.
we need to, because there are a couple things that I don't wanna make public, but I think we need to talk about. It's not a place for it. Very good.
And that's one of the things that we've heard from the other neighbors that live closer, is that the number of people that come and that are there are people that have come after. I know your agreement may say one thing, but more people show up than what's there. There's extra cars, there's extra people, and, you know, they don't know
That's
what
what
you,
I'm saying, the baby shower,
they don't know what your numbers are, what your numbers should be or shouldn't be. They don't wanna be into that kind of a game, and start counting.
I agree with you, but that's my point of like us being at our family camp. Our neighbor, it's family owned by 4 different people. There's 15 cars there. It's a party every weekend. Who am I to call then? Do you know what I'm saying? I know that I'm living on the lake in the summer, and both of my neighbors have it's a multi-family owned property. And my point to this is, yes, we have X amount of people at the houses. My neighbors have somebody to call. We take care of it. I have nobody to call and nobody to take care of it. But nor do I have a problem with it. But I completely understand that other people do, and I have expressed to especially Penny and Bill numerous times because they are wedged in between it. That we've always tried to be as accommodating as possible, but if you go around the lake on the summer, there's 10, 15 cars at every person's property, lines up on the road, going over the bridge. You can't even get
They're not
beyond
businesses.
that. It doesn't matter. What's good for one is good for all.
If you rent your house up in here, this.
The other thing came was that you just brought up interesting. You said that, you want them to call you, but you would feel uncomfortable calling your neighbors.
No. I'm saying I wouldn't even dare call my neighbor, right? Because there's no pressure on them they're gonna say, screw you. This is my house. I pay taxes. I'm gonna do what I want. I don't say that. Which technically by the laws and the rules right now I could. I've never said that. I've always been very polite and very responsive and taking care of it.
Well, right now, just like Deb pointed out earlier, there is no law that if I call the sheriff's department in the middle of the night because the neighbor's absolutely rowdy, that when you get 16 people for a bachelorette or a bachelor party going in the middle of the night, I mean, there's no law against it. You have no regulation. They came with the state police for the shooting. There was no law for them to enforce. This is why I think you need this local law. It gives the police something when you do get a situation that is out of hand to act on.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
we all
agree.
agree.
straight across the board though. You know what I mean? If there's neighbors that are rowdy and out of control,
But
then
there is a
yes.
law for that, it's called disorderly conduct.
Right,
Yes.
so then
There you go.
they can be called.
Enforce the laws we have.
So then if we're that rowdy, right, there's rock bottles going past people's docks and all that, call the cops. If the cops can take care of it, great. If they don't, then we're not breaking the law. But I'm not even doing that. I'm saying text me, and my husband gets out of bed 11 o'clock at night, 11:30 at night,
I
and
put
goes
those on.
and goes and takes care of all this.
Sorry, I'm not going out there scaring anybody.
What I'm saying is we are doing more than what is required right now, and by that we're getting slapped for it.
Your points will take. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, does anyone else have anything you'd like to bring up tonight? Any other public discussion? Anything you want to say? Going once? Going twice? Going 3 times? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by George, we have a second? Deb and Gretchen? Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight.